Hi there. I am Jack Reese. I'm the lead instructor for the Drafting Technology program, and I want to put this video together to kind of give you an overview of what our program is, kind of explain a few things about it. A little bit about myself. I have been teaching here at Chatt-Tech for 7 years now. Before that, I taught drafting and technology in high school for 12 years. Before that, I worked in several areas and facets of construction, both commercial and residential. So I've worked as a designer, as a drafter, as a carpenter, all kinds of different, as an estimator, as a project manager, as a superintendent. So I had several years of experience within construction before I started teaching. So I teach most of the courses at the college, the drafting courses at the college. I have 3 adjuncts currently who will teach 3 or 4 courses a semester. 2 of those are architects, and 1 works in the mechanical field. So we've got a pretty good faculty that covers the program. Let's see. There are, even before the whole COVID thing, the drafting program was largely done online, and there are no typical, Monday, Wednesday at 6 o'clock classes. Everything's done on an open lab, so most of the work is done at home and submitted online. Uses a lot of video instruction. Some are subscription service that we use, and some are videos that myself or another instructor have put together. So here in COVID, you will do most of your work at home or online. You will come into the lab during open lab times to do a weekly in-class assignment, but that's only when you have to physically put your hands on something in the lab. So it's the schedule is very flexible as to when you are able to do your work. Myself and the instructors are available via email. We use WebEx to we can do video calls through WebEx and help you with any of the problems that you may have. And we have 2 lab tutors that are available in the lab and can be available on WebEx to help also. So our program is pretty strong, and it's very flexible for the students to learn. Okay, so we have if you look on our, here's our homepage on the drafting thing. Talks about our different programs, so it'll tell you what you need for an associate's degree or a diploma. The main difference being a diploma is 49 credit hours, has 1 or 2, it has a minimal amount of core classes. The associate's degree is 60 credit hours, has more core classes, but only 1 additional drafting class. And these certificates that you see listed here, they are embedded within the program. So you do not register for a certificate. You register as a diploma or a degree student. And then as you complete the courses, you earn the certificate. Okay. And let's see, dual enrollment. The program is available to dual enrollment students. I've had several who are in the program. I've had a couple who have graduated with a degree as part of their dual enrollment. So it's a great opportunity for a high school student who's interested in going into engineering or architecture to get the drafting skills before going on to university. So that's available. We have 2 specializations, an architecture and a mechanical specialization. And scrolling on down here, you can download the e-maps, which I'm going to show you here now. What we call an e-map, it's basically the sequencing in which you'll take the courses. Okay, and all of my courses have prerequisites, so you have to take them in order because you're building on previous knowledge. It's not like You can study world history and U.S. history separately from each other, one before, one after. It doesn't work like that. You have to understand the basics before you move into the advanced. So in mechanical, you start with learning to use AutoCAD, and you start learning about prints, how to read the blueprints or the mechanical prints. Then we move into multi-view drawings, still AutoCAD class, but 1105 is a 3D mechanical modeling. And so that's where we start using Inventor to do 3D models. And then moving forward, third semester, you would take the 1107, 1109, which are a combination of AutoCAD and Inventor. The last two courses, Fasteners and Assembly Drawings. Fasteners is mostly AutoCAD. Assembly Drawings is all Inventor. So you using 2 or 3 different softwares in these classes, and then you move through them. Now you must take the drafting courses in this sequence. The core courses and any electives, you take them as you can fit them in, of course based on their prerequisites. The architectural program is very similar. You start with AutoCAD, CAD fundamentals, and blueprint reading. And then you move into, you still take the 1103 multi-view drawing, but you'll start your architecture here with 1125, which is an AutoCAD-based architectural class in which you're learning construction methods and materials, the basics of plans and print reading, things of that nature. So it gets you a good foundation in moving into it. Then you move into our 3D courses, starting with 1127, 1129, where in these courses you'll use Revit to do 3D modeling of the buildings. And then we move to Residential 2, which builds on Residential 1, but it adds in more plumbing, more electrical, HVAC, mechanical drawings, and some other things. And then 1133 being commercial drawing, where we do a commercial type building. Okay. One thing in particular with the architectural specialization is that you can take several of the interior design courses as an elective. And I've had several students who wanted to learn architectural drafting, but they were more interested in the interiors side of the business. Not that they wanted to be an interior designer or decorator, but they wanted to work in a part of the industry that focuses more on interiors. And so those courses are available as an elective for you to take. Okay, so that's the EMAPS. Let's look at some sample drawings. We'll start with mechanical, and this is a basic AutoCAD drawing, orthographic view of a part with dimensions, hidden lines, center lines, tolerancing information. So this comes out of the 1103 class. And here's this comes from the 1109 class, where you're taking a truncated hexagonal prism and you want to create the surface pattern. So this is what our final shape would be, but this is what we need in order to create that shape, because it's a hollow sheet metal type of a part. And so we learn how to do this in one of those classes. And it's more of it is a necessary skill, yes. Our 3D programs will do it more automatically, but a lot of companies that do this type of stuff want their employees to be able to do it in 2D mentally, because you need to be able to see the shape and understand the shape as to how it would fold and unfold. So if you were to cut this pattern out and fold it up, that's the shape that you would get. Okay. In our fasteners class, we don't create a lot of screws and bolts, but we do some AutoCAD drawings of different types of fasteners. But you do learn how to create the actual threads, and we have a couple of exercises here where You're creating the threads, you're modeling it based on the specifications given in a machinery handbook for a particular thread bolt of a certain type of a certain size. Not that you would model every bolt that you use in a design, but if you have a project in which a thread applies force, okay, like it drives something, like like a screw jack is the one that we do, like a garage door opener. A lot of those are screws that are turned that apply force. So in those type of assemblies, you would need to model the threads so that you can evaluate those threads as to how they work. Here's a project where we are combining fasteners, threaded objects with welding. So these two parts here are welded together. And then we've got a series of fasteners and pins and different things that work with that. In our 1113 class, we get into some pretty complex shapes. Here's a drill press bracket that is one that's pretty complex. Lots of different operations to be able to manufacture this part. Here's a screw jack I mentioned earlier. You can't see it in here, but it has a square thread in here that where you would turn this top part and it raises and lowers it. And the surface around here is a knurl finish. So lots of things. I know I'm probably saying things that don't make any sense to you, but as we're working through these parts, some of them get pretty complex. Like, for example, the any angle tool holder. Several parts. We model these, each one of them individually. We assemble them and constrain them together so that the model actually works the way it is supposed to work. Here's an exploded isometric view of it that shows all of the parts. So you see it's a pretty complex assembly that it's the most complex one that we do in the course, but yeah, it's fairly typical of something that you might do in a manufacturing environment. Here's a student's project. It's a pneumatic grinder. He took it apart, measured all of the parts for it, recreated it in Inventor, assembled it, constrained it, make it work. And here's the exploded drawing of all of the parts that are made up of the die grinder. The modeling is fun, the modeling is cool, but the drawings are what are important, because when you send it out for manufacturing, the guys doing the manufacturing are going to take all their information from the drawings. So all of the dimensions, the notes, all that data has got to be on a drawing so that those people can understand what it is that you're wanting to manufacture. And it has to be clear so that they understand it. Okay, I've got a video queued up here to give you an idea of how cool the modeling can be and how accurate that we create things. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? All right. So that's the mechanical side. Now, architecture, we start with the AutoCAD. In the 1125 class, we do a basic one-story house. We learn about the construction methods and materials. We're going over floor plans, foundation plans, roof plans, elevations, things of that nature. So in this class, you're learning the basics, and we're doing it in 2D AutoCAD. So you're getting an understanding of how things work, how they go together, and how they should be shown on our drawings. And then we have two residential drawing classes, Residential 1, Residential 2. In Residential 1, you recreate the same project from architectural fundamentals, but you do it in Revit, so you do it in 3D. So now you're learning how to use the 3D software, and you're creating a project within that. And you would create the model all the parts that are in the model, and then we create the drawings from the model. And so what you're seeing here is the project that we're using in Residential 2. It's a little bit more complex building. It's got more complex shapes. It's got lots of different things in it, but we're adding in HVAC and electrical also, in addition to your standard architectural stuff. And let's see. I'll go ahead and show you the. This is the interior of the kitchen. So you can see, we do the cabinets, we do the appliances, we do the flooring, all of these things. Paint on the walls, lights in the ceiling, things like that. So we do all of those things. Excuse me. Let me show you the. Let me get back to. Okay, so here's our a set of drawings for this particular project. And like I said with the mechanical, the drawings are important. The model is cool, but it's the drawings that get the project built. And so all of the information about the project need to be communicated clearly in the drawing. So here's front and rear elevation with notes, a foundation plan that shows the footings, foundation wall, the steel beams, the notes. It's just a lot of information. Here's our floor plan with all dimensions and notes and doors, window tags, door tags. We got notes. We got a blow up of the kitchen, cabinet layout. So this is all the cabinetry information, cross section through the stairs with all those dimensions. These are rafter truss profiles. Excuse me. Small roof plan. The side elevations and a typical wall section that gives all of the details for that type of construction. So schedules, it would be doors, windows, room finish schedule, a cabinet schedule, and the kitchen elevations here that show all of the cabinetry involved. Here's an electrical plan that shows the lights, receptacles, switches, smoke detectors, those kinds of things, and the symbol legend. A mechanical plan that shows the HVAC system and the ductwork and registers. And then a structural plan that shows the structural floor framing and the truss layout and framing that would be involved with the trusses. So that's the Residential 2 project. Next comes 1133, which is commercial construction drawing. And it would do a light, small commercial building. So it's got slab on grade, footings, it's got masonry walls, it's got metal stud walls, it's got brick veneer, it's got steel columns, it's got wood beams, roof truss, roof joist. They're not really trusses, they're more of a joist, a sloped roof, mansard overhang. So it's got a lot of different things in it. And I'll go to these. So here's the drawings that would come out of that project. Typical floor plan, lots of different things there. Cabinet elevations, details for the toilet, a furniture fixture layout, all the shelving, roof plan. That's not very interesting. Reflected ceiling plan, elevations, schedules. Now, in this class, we get more into the details. So lots of wall sections, lots of detailed drawings, because in a commercial construction project, you need all that detailed information to clearly explain how to build this building. So here's some structural details for the footings, the different types of footings, the roof wall structure, with the beams and the columns and the joist and how they attach to the walls and the pilasters and things of that nature. So lots of details in that particular project. And let's see, next, we do have advanced 3D classes. We have one for mechanical, one for architectural. And in the architectural one, we do some more different types of site plans. We just do a lot of different projects in those classes. And in this one, we took a AutoCAD file and brought it into Revit and created a site plan. And this particular site has a lake. You know, it has a drainage and topo downport, and we brought in 3 Revit houses and placed it in. So it's like if you were doing an entire neighborhood, you could pop it in there and see how it looks. And so, you know, we got some trees that we've popped in, some, you know, shrubbery, the roadway, things of that nature. One of the projects in there is a kitchen remodel. So we take an existing house and we're remodeling the kitchen, and we're adding a lot more detail to this kitchen. So in this particular project, we physically create the countertops with the edging and the backsplash. We're using commercial quality cabinets, applying all the trim, the base trim, the corner molding, the cove molding. So it's just a lot more intense because you're just focusing on this particular kitchen. Okay, and so that kind of wraps up my presentation on it. Jobs, man, the jobs are they're hopping right now. The amount of money that you can make depends on the type of company and the complexity of the work. I've got some students that are working in industries where the drafting is really pretty simple and they're making $20,000-25,000 a year starting out. The ones that are more complex, they're starting at $40,000 to $45,000 a year. So that kind of wraps up my presentation on the program. Be happy to entertain questions after this is over.